I just got through watching World News Tonight. I find it ironic that Amy Schumer is bitching about being included, lumping in with other women who in Hollywood who are bigger than her, as in Glamour magazine they're plus size. So remember, when you're looking at Hollywood women, you're always going to look at it, you know, they're under different standards. But regardless, you know Amy Schumer, and you know I love her comedy or whatever, but as a comedian, she's had to have offended tons of people. You know, you would think she would be a proponent of freedom of speech. She exercises her freedom of speech all the time, yet got all upset with Glamour magazine, and what makes me even sicker is they apologized to her. They're exercising their freedom of speech. If they want to make an issue that includes you as a smaller, plus-sized Hollywood woman, they have every right in the universe to do it, period. I find it just astounding that she complained, bitched about something like that. She prefaced it, there's nothing wrong with being plus-size, but I'm not. Well, Glamour magazine says otherwise, and they're exercising their freedom of speech, Amy. Sorry, but you exercise your freedom of speech all the time, you know? Ridiculous. Oh, that is so ridiculous. She makes fun of her weight all the time. I watched her comedy shows. I watched her live at the Apollo, where she'd already made Trainwreck. She lost 10 pounds for Trainwreck. Who knows if she put them back on. But whatever, if Glamour magazine wants to include her in a friggin' plus-size issue, they have every right in the universe, and she shouldn't bitch, and they shouldn't have to apologize to her for exercising their freedom of speech, period. End of discussion. She is a comedian who exercises her freedom of speech all the time. Okay? You know she's had to offend people here and there along the way, and she's gonna bitch. Oh, God. Of course, that's big news. I'm sure it's plastered all over the internet by now. Where people are going to react on feelings, as they always do, you know. But she's not plus size. No, who cares? You can call her plus size. You can call me plus size, and I fit into these, still into these, in an 8. They're tighter, but I still fit into them. You know what I mean? It's freedom of speech. That's what John Rappaport tries to... It doesn't matter. Even if she wasn't plus size at all, someone can... They're exercising their freedom of speech. She's not Hollywood skinny, so they put her in this issue and she's pissed off. Meanwhile, she ridicules her own weight all the time. I imagine, I'm sure there are going to be people, and I'm sure it's plastered all over the internet now, the latest controversy. Meanwhile, all the big shit's being overlooked or swept under the rug. But I had to point that out because just, I'm sure people say, Glamour magazine shouldn't have done that. No, Glamour magazine exercised their freedom of speech, period. Amy does it all the time. Yeah. Because it's okay for her to do it. Anyway, Mom, you who don't know this story, you're not going to understand it, because while it was happening, I created video after video after video. There are videos, times probably 10 or 20, Mama made a new friend, but can I trust him, or should I trust him, or whatnot? Mama made a new friend in the mental hospital, should I trust him, can I trust, whatever. Okay. I wanted as much as the next guy to see this guy be the real deal, but I'm sorry, anybody who doesn't contact you for over a year is not your friend. Well, maybe this is what I got on the walk tonight. I walked way ahead of her. I was just disgusted. Yes, it's such a delicate balancing act with me and my mom. People, it's so frustrating. You wonder why I'm eating up like candy or lapping up like a kitten with milk this new personalized guy just being nice to me, you know, complimenting me. I'm this delicate balancing act constantly with my mom while I'm also battling my own constant feelings of self-hatred, okay? It's draining. It's draining. I wanted to believe this guy was sincere as much as the next person who cared about my mom wanted to believe it. But the proof is in the pudding. If you can't see that there's something fishy going on, okay? First of all, people who say this or that or what about me because they can't stand me don't have a fucking clue. My mom gets out of the mental hospital, you know this story, gushing about this guy she met, and then she goes and confesses to me that she and Auntie had really split a shitload of money from the wrongful death case, and Auntie had sworn her to secrecy, my mom, and she felt all bad and was just feeling like it wasn't even her money, what, it had nothing to do with me or what, and then she tells a total stranger she meets in the mental hospital. I said to her earlier today, again, delicate balancing act, I don't want to upset her, but come on, Mom, you believe anything anybody says. No, yes you do. Yes you do. He's my friend. You guys know how upset I was, but I had to swallow it down. I'm in the twilight zone. What am I supposed to do? He's going to help us fight on, whatever, Mom. But then what happened? And if you believe there's nothing fishy about this, then I have some beachfront property to sell you in Iceland, okay? My mom was torn. She loves her sister. She wasn't moving forward. This guy was telling her what to do and she wasn't doing it, okay? In my eyes, he got frustrated with it, but she'll never believe it. She'll jump down my throat if I say anything. He got frustrated. He stopped returning her calls, okay? He stopped returning her calls completely. She moped around here. He never calls me. Why doesn't he ever call me? Because he doesn't care about you. Well, now I'm pointing out to her rationally, Mom, I'm sorry, but there's no, if you don't, well, maybe he was busy. Maybe he was having problems with his kids. Maybe he's having problems with his ex-wife. Mom, if you're friends with somebody, I don't care. You can at least pick up the phone. I can't talk to you right now, but I want to let you know I'm thinking of you. You don't not call somebody for over a year that you care about. You have your job. Mom, he's been consistent. Mom, that's ridiculous. She said that. You don't want me to have any male friends. You have your Joe. Why can't I have Mark? You know, it's like... She didn't say, I call him my Joe. You have Joe. You have a male... Mom, he's been in my life for 20 years. Over 20 years. He's consistent. You met this guy in a mental hospital. He's my age. He might even be younger. He's not younger. Mom, he's just a friend, Laura. He's just a friend. But okay, but I understand he's just a friend. But when you were locked up in the last hospital 3 times ago, you were telling everybody that he had called you and that he was going to marry you. You were telling your social worker, me, whoever would listen, that he was going to give you a diamond ring and marry you. But I'm not like that anymore. That's not going to happen again. He called me when I was in, not this hospital, the one before. I'm like, Mom, how could he have? They have the HIPAA law. They won't tell family. I have to fight to find out where you are in places. I have to know the friggin'... There's no way he called you in that. Maybe Auntie told him. Mom, Auntie didn't know of his existence until I became pseudo-friends with Auntie again and told her about him. She didn't even know about him. Well, he called me, Mom. How do you know you didn't imagine it? In the other hospital, you imagined he called you and asked you to marry him. I didn't imagine. He did call me. They just didn't give me the message. Mom, I'm sorry, but I'm more likely to believe that you fantasized it. You were locked up in a mental hospital. You were really, really out of it. You could easily imagine that he had called you because you're so desperate for him to call you. I don't want her to come home and hear me saying this, but, you know, people who can't stand me, they accuse me, you just want drama. You want everything to... No, I don't. You think I wanted this to happen? On a lesser note, do you think I wanted what happened with Trouble to happen, or on even, you know, or what happened with Stoney, Colin, and Phil and all that? Do you think I didn't want Justin, even just on that basic level, to be the real deal? And to not be Stoney Jenkins Reborn, and to not ultimately trick and deceive me and rip me apart after being kind? No. Stoney Jenkins, like, you like me to be mean to you? No, I certainly don't. I loved it when you were Justin. Now you're just an asshole. There's nothing that I can do. You understand? I need to make that perfectly clear. I'm going to have to make it perfectly clear to see, because she didn't understand the last thing. There's nothing that I could do. I had my say. My mom has blinders on when it comes to this guy. To me, it's like, I don't know. I just don't think he cares all that much. I hope doesn't have ulterior motives. But even if he didn't have ulterior motives, she gets all, it helped contribute to her breakdown last time, the time before, whatever it was. She was moping around here. You can't, why doesn't he return my calls? I don't understand. She was crying this because he doesn't care about you. What, you know? He never calls her. She calls him. Last summer, she called and told him we won the case. I'm like, Mom, you haven't heard from him in over a year. He didn't even know we were involved in the case for those 8 months. He didn't even know anything. He knew I was in that Mom, I really think you're fantasizing that he called you in that hospital. How would he know? We're not friends with him. I didn't tell him. Nobody in your family would have told him. Nobody knows who the fuck he is. He couldn't call at the hospital, and they wouldn't tell. They're not legally allowed. They can't tell him that you're in there. They don't know him from Adam. I really don't think he called her in that hospital, you know, filled with those people that I hated. How would he have ever known? Well, maybe he called around to all the hospitals. Mom, he doesn't give a shit about you. People who care about you don't not call you for over a year. They don't always have to be you. He's busy. Maybe he has problems with the kid. Maybe whatever. No. Maybe he just doesn't give a shit. Maybe he smelled the money. I don't want to think that way, but come on. I wouldn't be thinking that way if he'd stayed in contact with you all along, but he didn't. He dropped out of sight the minute he realized that you were not going to, you know, fight your sister like he wanted you to do. I'm not going to, Mom, I'm not going to tell him anything. He's just a friend. But before, when I thought he was after the money, you know what happened to me. You know what happened. He has a good job. He fixes... Mom, he told you that. Well, he's locked up in a mental hospital with you. How do you know he's not lying? He's not. I believe him. Of course you do. Anyone who wants to compare this to the Chuck Kroger thing and me, it's dramatically different. Okay? These are real people. The Chuck Kroger thing, yeah, it's real people, but it's dramatically different because he's just, you know, out of reach. Whereas this guy, my mother, you guys I know who hate me accuse me of taking advantage of my mom, okay? What you don't know, at least I'm her kid. My mom was working full time when I moved out of that little studio apartment I shared with her after, you know, all the things happened with her crazy third husband, and she tried to harm me, thought I was an alien, was going to chase me up the stairs, and I was outside on the balcony, or outside on the ledge, screaming at the top of my lungs, being eaten alive by mosquitoes until the police came, etc., etc., okay? But she would have hurt me, it's just I was faster and smarter, and I got away from her, okay? But anyway, we moved in together to this studio apartment after I briefly went and stayed for a while with my college boyfriend, but we didn't have a future together. You know, so anyway, but did let me go and stay with him in his little apartment for a while. We didn't have sex or anything like that. I stayed like on a platonic basis. I was considering moving back there, get my own place, of course, but that wasn't going to happen. I just didn't know, But anyway, you know who moved in with my mom in her apartment? And she's so grateful. I don't know what happened to her as a kid, but we know something did. Okay? You don't wind up with all these. I mean, I at least was with Joe, and Joe was a good guy. Okay? The reason I wound up with such a bad guy like Donald is because I had stars in my eyes, and I thought it was fate that he lived in L.A. of all places, and I was physically I was just whatever. It's just. But regardless. Morbidly obese, chain-smoking, homeless guy. He's my friend, I know. Moved in with her and mooched off of her for a long time. I mean, I think he got disability or something, but he was always borrowing money from her, and then he would pay her back the next. But you know what I mean? It wasn't ever caught up. But I still felt bad for her when he died. He was only in his 40s, but he had complications galore. He wasn't a nice person. I felt bad. He wasn't nice to me because he knew I had his number. Okay, he couldn't stand me, and he made it clear. But he was my friend. I know, Mom, it sucks for you that you're such a nice person. Yeah, he was living with her, mooching off of her. She was working full time. Despite her illness, you guys know, that's why she's got the pretty little nest egg now that a lot of people don't have, because jobs aren't loyal anymore, but they get rid of people before they can get retirement funds or this, that, or whatever. And my mom worked for the same company for over 20 years, and she never called in sick. And the only time she was out was when she got locked up in the mental hospital for a couple weeks at a time, a couple occasions in the 22 years. But basically she just, here and there, but she never called in sick, just played hooky or didn't want to go to work or anything like that. No. And she's a softie. She's a softie, and anybody wants to take advantage of her, they don't have to outright ask her for money. They can just be bemoaning their fate or this, whatever. She gave her poor friend $700 that the friend promised, because the friend was really poor. Friend's dead now, but my mom was saying all these years later, she never paid me back, and it hung over her head, and the friend felt bad. She never had the money to pay her back, and because the friend didn't ask her, I don't think, or she probably just was crying, or that my mom offered it, who knows. But anyway, my mom said, well, she never paid me back. I'm like, yeah, that's why it's not good to loan friends money or whatnot a lot of times, because it hangs over your shoulder and it fucks up the friendship. That's why that African-American woman, black woman from the shelter, I gave her money here and there that added up over the course of in over a year's time. I paid for her phone a few months. That was $50-something. I paid for us to go out to eat, this, that, or whatever. I paid for our nice little 4th of July, hotel, 2 different hotels for blah, whatever. But I never just handed her over like $500. You know what I mean? One time I think I did give her $100. That was when she needed to get her hair done and stuff, and we were supposed to go to LA and get my stuff, and that didn't happen because my mom wound up sick, and someone had to stay. I had to cancel everything and lose money. I had to stay here with the dogs, My friend was pissed at that, my so-called friend. And then I'm thinking, I'm getting more and more upset with you. Then she starts putting down, you don't want to be listening to Joe about this, that, whatever. You've been my friend for a brief amount of time compared to, Joe's been in my life for 20 fucking years. Don't you say one word about him. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare say anything about, no, she just, She wanted to control me too, and when are we going to go to LA? When are you going to redo the thing? I need to get away and visit my friend. I don't have to take you to LA. I'm sorry we had to cancel and I have to get flight credits or whatnot, you know. You're pissing me off more and more is what I'm thinking to myself. But, you know, fuck you. I don't owe you anything. When I first asked you, you got all in my face and huffy because I was assuming you'd be excited. I had to walk on eggshells with her. It's getting ridiculous. You know. But anyway. When my mom was saying she never paid, I'm like, Mom, but now you have money. Who cares? You care about her. She never paid you back. That's the way it goes. I'm sure she feels bad. You told me she's impoverished, you know. Sometimes I have to get my mom to think a little bit. But regardless, I'm not going to trust this guy when she didn't contact her for over a year, and she's fantasizing. You contacted her in a hospital. How would he know she was in there? There's a lot of fucking mental hospitals in Massachusetts. He didn't care about contacting you for over a year. Well, I called him. I think he did contact me, and they didn't tell me. Well, they're required to tell you. I don't know, Mom. When I called you, they told you. I don't know. I don't know. I know the time before when I was living with Bobby, she definitely was fantasizing. You called her. He's going to marry me. He's giving me a diamond ring and blah, 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 whatever. No, he never called you. What do you think I'm more likely to believe, people? That he really did call her in this hospital when he hadn't returned her calls or called her or whatnot for over a year, or she fantasized that he called her? She dreamed it. You know, she sometimes dreams that people are knocking at the front door and nobody is. I mean, she doesn't want to hear me say this, but like I said, it's a delicate balancing act. There's nothing that I can do. I haven't talked to C yet, but she's going to have to understand. There's nothing that I can do. My mother rips my throat, literally. There's nothing that I can do. I cannot stop my mother from being friends with this guy. And she will accuse me. You don't want me to have any male friends. You have Joe. Why can't I have a male? Because history has shown that I don't trust him. I don't think he cares about. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Oh. Oh no, you know, she's telling me she won't let anything slip, but she's hung up on this was back when. Why should I trust this guy? Look what my cousin did to me and my mother. My cousin, who wrote me this beautiful email that was like Auntie later called grooming, saying, you know, it sucks for you, you know, you're going through all this shit as a kid, and then your own family treats you this way, blah, blah, blah. I'll be here for you, Laura, and we'll make our own new family cookout, you know, because Auntie always holds the family cookout, and, you know, and we'll go to uncles or this, you know what I mean, doing all this crap. So if she could do that and she's family, why should I test this total stranger? Why did he suddenly return her call now? Who the fuck knows? We don't know his life. We know they met in a mental hospital. Extra time.